Welcome back to the series on the top 5 mistakes to avoid in event planning. So, last time we discussed the importance of understanding your audience to deliver a successful event. So, this week we're going to talk about focusing on mistake number 4, which is poor logistical planning. I am Rhonda A. White, your conference strategist, and I want to welcome you to Conference Made Simple from Planning to Execution. We've got your back. So let's talk about this. What is poor logistical planning? One of the most common challenges in a conference planning is underestimating the logistics. Most small business owners, entrepreneurs, and event hosts or facilitators often think about the big picture and not necessarily looking at the small things. They think about, I need a venue, I need to have a date, I need to have a speaker or two, or, things like that. And they forget about securing things, the other things that may take place, right? So for instance, let's just say your event is in Dallas, Texas, and you're flying your speaker from Los Angeles, right? They're new to your city. And so you're going to book their flight. Well, how are they going to get from the airport to wherever the accommodations are for them? We forget about the small things: transportation, catering delays, hiccups, technical issues with AV. And so we forget that we need to have a contingency plan or plan in the beginning to accommodate all those little things that can come up when you're hosting an event. Because these disruptions can really frustrate your attendees and disrupt the flow of your event, leaving a negative impression, and we do not want that to happen. So let's dig into some bigger logistical challenges. So let's talk about transportation. Like, are you going to offer a shuttle? Is the hotel or the venue that you have your guests in, will they offer a shuttle to wherever your people need to get to? So let's give an example. So there's a hotel in Atlanta that I've used for several of my clients' events. Now, they do not offer a shuttle from their place to the airport. It's just a little bit too far. But what they do offer is to the train, the metro stop, the MARTA train. So if you leave the airport, right outside the airport, you can get right on the train. It's $3.50. It's a straight shot. You do not have to get off. You stay on that line. And when that line lands at a particular spot, there the hotel shuttle will pick you up. You just come up, get off the train, walk up upstairs. I normally call the hotel about 2 stops before so they can know that I've arrived. And so by the time I get off the train, go up, come in and come out the outside, I can see the shuttle about to turn into the parking lot to pick me up. So that's a thought to think about. Or, for instance, we had an event in Dallas once, and the hotel had a shuttle service, and part of our event was going to be at another place. But the hotel provided that transportation for us. They wanted the contract, so part of our contract negotiations were the shuttle services to and from the place that we was having this other part of our event happening at. So you need to think about all of those little small things, right? So you need to map out everything from your setup to your breakdown to the vendors, when they're going to be coming, showing up, when they're going to be setting up, if you have exhibitors, right? Everything to avoid last minute hiccups. It is crucial to assign clear roles to your event management company or your team, your volunteers, whoever is going to be involved in helping you to facilitate your event. They need to have clear roles and responsibilities. And also, flexibility is a key. You got to be flexible in these things because anything can happen, right? Have a backup plan. I'll give you another for instance. So we was at a different event in Dallas, and the AV company was out of Houston. And so they had bought a projector. It was a pretty big projector for the screen. But all the PowerPoints, the colors were off, you can understand the font. It was just crazy. And so I went to them and said, we need to change out that projector. Well, they were prepared. They actually had traveled with a different projector, and that projector was perfect. So logistics, guys. Logistics involve so many different things, right? What happens if, let's just say, you have your event and part of your event is outdoors and the weather is not nice to you that day. It begins to rain or it begins to snow or whatever. What is the contingency plan that you have put in place so that your guests don't know any different and they still get that same experience? You still wow them because you already thought about the logistics of what's my backup plan, having a contingency plan, right? Because you want your people to have a very, very seamless experience and for it to be professional. So you have to make event logistics a priority. You have to prioritize that. So here's some things that I say, some tools that you can use. You should have a checklist of everything. Break the checklist down from everything under the volunteers, everything under the speakers, everything under the different vendors, the before, the pre, the post, even your launch plan when you're doing your ticket sales. Like, have a checklist and a timeline. And when you delegate specific tasks to a team member or even to yourself, put a due date. Put a due date, right? Put a due date. And then the same thing when you're building out your runner show or you're thinking through your flow, because your runner show should flow, you should do a grid. Just get a Word document, build you out a grid. Like, here's what this is going to happen. Here's why I need this to happen here, because this is leading to this, which is leading to this. So here's the content and here's the right person for that. And here's how much time they're going to have. So learn how to build out grids, or in Google Sheets, they call them dashboards. Right? So all of these things like spreadsheets should be your favorite. You should be great in Excel if you're doing events. So make sure you have a timeline. Make sure you have a checklist. Build out your grid just to see what your content is going to look like. Right? And every time you have a meeting, you should be going through that checklist and that timeline to make sure those things are getting done and you're staying on that timeline. Like, what needs to be completed 6 months in advance, 9 months in advance, a year in advance? What needs to be completed 5 months before the event, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, 2 weeks, the week of, right? When is load in? What time? Where is it at? Where are we meeting? What's the procedure? How are we going to pack our truck with our equipment? What happens to the things that we're getting shipped? All of this is part of logistics. And all of this is something that you need to make sure that you have a detailed plan for. Don't just be saying, well, I've done so many events. Let me just, I can do this off the tip of my head. No. We are professionals and we do things in excellence. So logistics is just important. So remember that effective logistical planning is key to making your event run like a well-oiled machine. Even your volunteers, you should have an assignment for them, a dashboard for them, so they can know where they need to be at this time. What are they doing? What is expected from them? The same thing for your speakers, who's meeting them. Like, all of these things are important. And then think about what's been your biggest logistic challenge in previous events so that you can figure out how to overcome them. So that this event, they're not going to be your challenge. Those are the things that you're going to just fly right on through, right? So I want you to share your thoughts in the comments. I want you to tell me what are some logistical hurdles that you feel like that you haven't overcome, or maybe you have overcome, and what was the tip that you did that changed it all for you. So make sure that you share that. Make sure that you join us for the next segment of this series, which is going to be mistake number 5, neglecting marketing efforts. Oh, that's a big one. Right? And how you can make your event seen by the right people when you're marketing. So I hope these little segments have been useful and helpful to you. But I want to say I'm glad that you joined me. I'm Rhonda A. White, conference strategist, and I will see you next time.